Hey YouTube, got a package today. We're gonna open it up and see what it is. A little unboxing video. Unbox this bad boy here. I think I have a good idea on what it is. Garage is a little messy, but you know, it is what it is. It's now starting to get nice. The old Explorer right there. Got her parked in the garage. My wife gets a little pissed off that I park my car in the garage and she doesn't, but considering the circumstances. What we got here? Some fun paper. We got another box. We got another box inside of a box. Okay, let's pop this bad boy open. More paper. Look at that. More paper. Dun da da da. Hold on a second here. $200 amp. You really can't see it too well. It's not adjusting. No focus. But 200 amp alternator, high output alternator. It's all I can afford right now. Oh, this bad boy's fucking heavy too. Look at that. Nice, shiny. Bolts right on. Look at that. Same exact setup. Perfect. Now, since we got the new alternator, looking all nice and sexy, I'm gonna put it in, and maybe I'll get a little bit of video of that too. Hey YouTube, it's time to go out with the old and in with the new. Old alternator, right, Chong? New alternator, still in the box. I know I opened it up earlier, but I want to keep it safe. So, here we go. Change out the alternator. So, real big bitch about changing out the alternator is getting this fucking plug off right here. This plug right here. Because of where it's at. You gotta be careful you don't break the fucking clip so that it stays on. Which I didn't break, thankfully. So yeah. This is fun times here. Changing out the alternator. Make sure everything's tucked away and not hitting any metal, because don't tell nobody that I didn't disconnect the battery. And where they put the fucking bolts at on this thing, pain in the ass too. So yeah, this is fun shit. Fun shit here. Maybe we can get it out by hand though. Jiggle. There we go. Slowly but surely coming out. Is that a little better? Yeah, it's still okay. What are you gonna do? But yeah. Probably gonna cut some shit for music I'm listening to, but hey. Most of the time, it's a pretty good station. Every now and then I gotta throw one of these kind of songs in there, but there ain't nothing wrong with listening to a little bit of oldies every now and then. It's like a blast from the past almost, you know? I'm not that old, but my parents used to listen to this shit all the time. So sometimes it's nice to listen to it. My pops is not with us anymore, but he was the one that made me listen to it. Oh, look at that. Number 3. Oh, old alternator. Oh, I think she might have been. I don't know if you can hear it. I think she might have been going on a little bit. It was about good timing to replace the old alternator. But now we have the 200 amp high output. And the nice thing about this is it's only at 1200 RPMs. So you ain't gotta hold your engine at $2,000. Which most people with Fords, to get the appropriate voltage out of their vehicle, they need to run it up to about $2,000 to make sure that it's keeping a constant charge. The most. I'm not saying all. Most. But yeah. So back to the stock alternator. As you can see here, there's supposed to be like little plastic ears that come up right here so that, you know, the wire doesn't slide around and shit like that. But if you go to an 8 gauge cable, you need to pop those ears off. So I'm working on doing that right now, and never go wrong with a fine-tooth file. The easiest way is to break them off as close as you can, and then get the file in there. Make sure you don't hit the threads with the file, and then just kind of work it down. You don't want to break it up too far because you don't want to break onto the casing. You see? Slowly, just kind of eats that plastic away. Which is a good thing. You don't want to, like I said, you don't want to get too close because you don't want to hit the threads. But down that low, most likely the only thing that's going to be making connection down there is your ring terminals and your washers. So, yeah, fancy that. Just like that there. So yeah, that's a little quick tidbit. Okay, so where were we? Oh, that's right. We were tightening up the alternator. I forgot about that, so I had to go ahead and take care of that first. You know, don't smoke. It's bad for your health. At least that's what the doctors say, but I don't know about you, but I don't trust those crazy fucks. Anytime you go into them to see them, they say there's something else wrong with you. So, like I said, I know guys that smoked shit majority of their lives until they were in their 80s or 90s. They didn't die of lung cancer or anything like that. But, you know how people are nowadays. Can't smoke anywhere anymore. Me and my old lady just started watching this Mad Men program. And it's actually not too bad. It kind of kind of makes you wish you lived in those times. You can smoke just about anywhere, do about anything you want. Like, pretty much tell people to get fucked and not have nothing to worry about. And then you gotta be careful you don't drop your ratchet. But we carry the, we keep the old shop broom handy to pull it out so we ain't gotta get on the ground, which is a good idea, so you ain't gotta get on the ground. Now when you tighten them up, you just want to tighten them up snug until you get, you know, one at a time, tighten them up snug. Just a little snug at first, and you want to go ahead, since I got the 3-bolt. Now, other people may say other things. It's kind of like when you do a tire. You want to do it in a star pattern to kind of make sure it tights up evenly, because you know everything is aluminum. You got aluminum brackets, aluminum casing. You don't want nothing to crack, you don't want nothing to slip. So when you do it, you don't want to put everything you have into it because, you know, it is aluminum. But you want to make sure it's good and tight. And that rule goes out the window, but at least you have the other two nice and tight. You know that one's going to be fine. When you forget to put the wire connector, the holder back on for the wire. Take that bad boy and put it right back where it goes. Right there. So you can hold the wires in place. You ain't gonna want those bouncing around. The nice thing about that is the other two are already tight. So you can do the old speed wrench real quick. Before you tighten it up, make sure that's nice and straight. I'm pretty sure that majority of people that watch my videos or will watch my videos already know how to do this, but it's a nice little tutorial just in case if you don't. So yeah, nice and snug. You don't want to put your ass into it because you don't want to snap a bolt. And down the future, if you don't put anti-seize on the bolts, you want to make sure you can pull them off, because steel and aluminum corrode, and that's like trying to get rust apart. I don't know if you guys ever encountered that, but it's like trying to pull a tooth that doesn't want to be pulled. So back to where we were. I'm going to plug the new alternator in. Make sure you got a good connection. Got a good connection there. I'm going to put that on there. Now, this is another thing I'm probably going to catch some shit about, but I kind of don't care. I'm doing this because this is how I feel is the safest. I'm leaving my stock alternator wire on there also, and my aught gauge, because of the way my charging system is set up on an Explorer. You got one wire. It's supposed to be a 8-gauge wire that runs from the battery down to the starter, to a starter relay, to the starter, and then to the alternator. And then once the battery, or once the car starts, the relay cuts out, and then it's a direct line to the alternator. So I had to go through the whole hassle of trying to figure all that out. It took me a few hours to do, and that's why I didn't get it on video. But just for my own personal, like, I guess you could say, security, I guess, you know, in my head, that this is going to be fine. You know, I just figure, instead of an aught gauge, I got aught gauge and a 4 gauge, and a 4 gauge wire, charging my battery at the same time. So, nothing really different than, like, say, 2 aught gauges, aftermarket, whatever. And it's still supplying power that it needs to, everywhere it needs to be. Now with this, you don't want to make sure it's too tight that you spin it off. Got an email. You just want to make it just tight enough so that you know it's not going to come loose, but you don't want to make it too tight that it's going to pull out the alternator. And then you always make sure you put your tools away. Okay, so the new alternator is in, and also the nice thing about leaving the stock wire on there is the boot. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the boot stays on there so that you ain't gotta worry about nothing hitting the wire. Everything looks pretty good. Now it's time to put the belt on. But, like I said, smoking's bad for you. So, take gotta find a hole for it first. Make sure your rack's going the right way. And the easiest way to do it for me, to always put a serpentine belt back on correctly, put it on your idler pulley, because it's a flat surface, you ain't got to worry about lining up the grooves. Make sure the grooves are lined up everywhere else. And you ain't got to worry about trying to fight it to get it over the grooves if you ain't got your idler pulley on all the way. So, we double check. We double check everything. Make sure it's tight. Wire's tight. Plugs in. Alternator's tight. Belt's on. Now, we clean up our work area. Now it's time to see what kind of voltage we're going to be pulling and how good it's going to work. I want to watch our battery gauge. Oh yeah, look at that. Everything's so much better. So much better. Voltage is staying good. Now this is something that I got from Stix Audio. It's a little voltmeter you plug into the cigarette lighter. We're staying right at 14.5, which is beautiful. We're fluctuating 14.4, 14.5. You're talking about a half a volt. Not really much at all. So, Oh yeah. Got good voltage. Oh. So even the headlights look brighter. Look at that. Running better than everything. Nice, clean, sounds good, looks good. See, this is what I was talking about here. You can see this right here. This is what I had to deal with. This 8 gauge right here, right here, that goes to the fuse panel underneath the hood, and this one, this 4 gauge, is the one that goes down to the starter relay. So I took a hot gauge ring terminal and I opened it up and I took off the tab, of course, the ring terminal itself, and I put it around those 3 wires, this 4 gauge here, and that 4 gauge and this 8 gauge, and I soldered them all together and taped them up real good. So now, like I said, my garage is messy. I haven't had a chance to clean anything up yet, but we're still staying pretty persistent here. So we're gonna I'll just use this. No, you know what? We'll use this.
I wake up with that guala on my mind. With that guala on my
Lights are dimming a little bit. Voltage is staying good though. And I would say it's a pretty good success since I had shit rattling off my shelves in my garage. But yeah, I think we're doing pretty good here. We got everything going pretty good. We got everything going good. That's a 200 amp high output alternator put on and tested. Doesn't take very long. Real quick, real easy. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.